Yes, good morning students. In the previous class, we are discussing about transistors, and today we'll go for the, actually what I said, maybe I have taken nearly about 3 classes. In that 3 classes, we have studied about basics about transistors. Today onwards, we'll start actual topic about your second year syllabus. And as I said already in the beginning classes, actually we are having 13 chapters. In the 13th chapter, as I said already, the first topic is about FET, and second topic is about transistor biasing. Transistor biasing. Today we'll go for the second topic, because already you are having some idea about transistors. It is better to understand about transistor biasing. Then after you are going for this very big topic, it carries more marks in your exam. That is about transistor amplifiers. Transistor amplifiers. Look here, we go for the second topic, that is about transistor biasing. And you know the basic idea of transistors. Actually, if the transistor is not connected to any DC source, or if the transistor is unbiased, if the transistor is unbiased, that is no use. It is we are not giving more importance to the unbiased transistor. What is unbiased? What is unbiased transistor? Means the transistor is not connected to any external DC source, or you are not applying any external DC voltage to the transistor, or you can say the transistor terminals are open. We are not connecting any voltage source to the transistor terminals. That is nothing but your unbiased transistor. Actually, it is no use for unbiased transistor. Why it is no use for unbiased transistor? Because you are not getting any current or voltage. The net current will be 0. That's why you are not giving more importance to the unbiased transistors. And what is called the biasing? What is called the biasing? Actually, you go for in general meaning of biasing. The in general meaning of biasing nothing but while applying the DC voltage, apply the DC voltage to the any electronic device, to the device. The basic definition of bias is nothing but applying the DC voltage to the device, especially you are going for electronic device. That is the in general meaning of your bias. And as I said already, what is the actual meaning of your they may ask in your exam, what is called biasing? The biasing means the application of DC voltage across the transistor terminals. As I said, we have to connect some external DC voltage to the transistor terminals. Then only your transistor conducts, or it will be activated, or it will be on. To make it on the transistor, to make it activate the transistor, to make it work for the transistor, we have to apply the biasing. The biasing is necessary to make it on your transistors. It means as I said already, biasing means application of DC voltage to the terminals of the transistors. Applying the DC voltage to the terminals of the transistor, or applying the DC voltage across the terminals of the transistor. That is nothing but your biasing. Another we have definition. Basically, as I said, the biasing is nothing but a DC voltage is applied to the active components. The DC voltage is applied to the active components. The DC voltage is applying the DC voltage to the active components. It may be your diodes, it may be your transistors, but apply the DC voltage. And how to apply the DC voltage? To provide the particular current or voltages, or to provide the operating conditions for the component. Why you are applying the DC voltage? Why you are applying the biasing means to make it operate the device, or to fulfill the operating condition of the component. To fulfill the operating condition of the component, we are going for the biasing. And another we have biasing means by the biasing you are providing the current and voltage to the transistor. By the biasing we are providing the current and voltage to the transistor or any electron device. That is nothing but your biasing. And here I said about three way of your definition biasing. And what is the necessity of biasing? What is the necessity of biasing? Because the only said, we thought you are done the biasing, we are not getting the input current. We are not getting input current, that is IB, and also we are not getting output current, that is we know already IC, and also to get the input voltage. The input voltage is nothing but VB base to emitter voltage, and also to get the output voltage. To get the output voltage, that is VCE. The important thing is about the biasing. Without biasing, it is not possible to get the input current or output current or input voltage or output voltage. This is also an importance of your biasing. And another important thing, as we know about the application of your transistors, as we know about the most important application transistor, it is used as an amplifier. It is used as an amplifier. And second one is about it is used as a switch. And how to make it, how to identify your transistor in the transistor used as amplifier, or when the transistor is used as a switch. How to identify when the transistor is used as a switch or it is used as an amplifier. The thing is that without biasing, it is not possible to understand it is used as an amplifier or it is used as a switch. Because as we know about you are studied in your transistors, to make it the transistor in the amplifying section, the most important thing, the transistor should be in the active region. The transistor should be in the active region. Whenever the transistor is in the active region, in that time only your transistor acts as an amplifier. It means whenever the transistor is in the active region, in that time only your transistor acts as an amplifier. And also you know about switch. As I said already, switch is having the two conditions, it may be on or it may be off. And also you know when the switch is on, when the switch is off. Important thing, while your transistor is in the saturation region, when the transistor is in the saturation region, in that time your switch acts as on, it acts as a closed switch. if the transistor is in the cutoff region, if the transistor is in the cutoff region, in that time your transistor acts as the off switch. And to make it active region, to make it saturation region, to make it cutoff region, the important thing is about the biasing. Because without biasing, it is not possible to make it the active region. As we know already, active region nothing but input should be forward bias, output should be reverse bias. And also for your saturation region, the both input as well as output are in the forward bias. And finally, for your cutoff region, the input as well as output are in the reverse bias. It means while applying the DC voltage or while applying the biasing voltage, we can identify the application of your transistor. Without applying the biasing voltage, it is not possible to identify if it is used as an amplifier or if it is used as a switch or if it is used as a oscillator. It means the most important thing about biasing is about without biasing, it is not possible to identify the applications of your transistors. And also finally, what is this is in general thing about transistors. Then you go for the what is the need for the biasing. What is the need for biasing? What is the need for biasing? Look here, actually what is the importance? This is an important question for your exam. They may ask about 2-3 marks. What is the need for biasing? The most important thing about need for biasing, the first thing, if you apply the AC input signal to the transistor, in that time what happens? The Q point, I'll tell about afterwards what is Q point. The Q point should be in the middle of the active region. In the middle of the active region. Active region. The most important thing is about the Q point should not vary, or it should not move towards saturation, or it should not move towards the cutoff. If we apply the AC input signal, while applying the AC input signal, the Q point should not move towards saturation or move towards the cutoff. That's why you are applying the biasing. If you are not applied the biasing voltage, the Q point may shift towards the saturation or it may shift towards the cutoff. And if the Q point may shift, then what happens? Actually, if the Q point may shift, it may shift towards the upside or shift towards the downside, then what happens? You are not getting the exact output. You will get the distortion in the output. We are not getting the particular output. We are not getting the exact output. We are not getting the whatever you have given the input. You are not getting the, you can say about you are not getting the faithful amplification. We are not getting the faithful amplification. The most important thing, the first important for need for biasing is about while applying the AC input signal, the Q point should not move towards the saturation or move towards the cutoff region. Always the Q point should be in the middle of the active region. If you apply the A signal, if a signal if the variation in the signal, then also Q point should be in the middle of the active region. If the Q point may shift, then what happens? You are not getting the exact output. This is about the one important need for biasing. And second point is also important. What is the second point? Means in second point, we are giving more importance to the stability of the collector current. The stability of the collector current towards the temperature. It means actually you can say about another word. If you are confusing, means you can go for the constant. you can say about the another second point is about always to make it the collector current constant with respect to the temperature. If the temperature may increase or decrease, what happens? The collector current may increase or decrease. But we want always the collector current should be constant, or you can say stability of the collector current towards the temperature. If they may temperature may increase or decrease, they also increase or decrease the collector current. But if you are not biased, in that time the collector current may change. If you done the proper biasing, in that time the collector current will be constant. If you change the temperature, increase or decrease, that does not affect your collector current. The collector current is always constant. Or the second part is about the stability of the collector current against the temperature. It means if the temperature may increase or decrease, it does not affect the collector current. Always the collector current should be in the collector current should be constant. Or you can say about stability of the collector current against the temperature. That is the second reason about the transistor biasing. And third one is about actually in a circuit, whenever you are replacing the transistor one to another, in that time also the Q part should not change. If you are replacing the transistor with the same type, then also the Q part does not change. If we change the if you are replacing the transistor with another of same type, then also the Q part should not change. It means while changing the Q point should be in the middle of the active region, in the middle of the active region. It means if you replace the transistor of same type, then also the Q point should not change. And I said, if you are not biasing, and if you are changed or you can replace the transistor one to another, in that time the Q point may shift. To prevent the shifting of Q point while changing or replacing the transistor, then also the Q point should be in the middle of the activation. These are the three important points about what is the need for biasing or what is the necessity of biasing. Once again repeat, what is the need for biasing or what is the necessity of biasing. The first point is about while applying the AC signal, the Q point should not shift towards the saturation or it should not shift towards the cutoff. Always it should be in the middle of the activation. While applying the AC input signal, always the Q point should be in the middle of the activation. That is the one important thing about the importance of biasing. And second point about stability of the collector current. The stability of the collector against the temperature. If the temperature may increase or decrease, they may affect your collector current. To prevent, to control the collector current or to make it the constant collector current or to stability in the collector current against temperature, also we require the biasing. And finally, I just said, in a circuit, if you are replacing a transistor of same type, whenever you are replacing the transistor of same type, then also the Q point should not change. Then also it will be in the middle of the activation. That's why we are going for the biasing. This is about the importance of biasing. And finally, I said so many times, in biasing we are applying only for the DC voltage. And why you are not applying the AC voltage as a biasing? I said it so many times. I given three types of definition about biasing. In all the three types of definition, what I said, you are applying only the DC voltage to the terminals of your transistors. Why you are applying the DC voltage? Why not you are not applying the AC voltage? Because the most important thing about why you are applying the DC voltage. Why not you are applying the AC voltage? Because we want the constant, current, and also we want constant voltage. We want the constant current and constant voltage. The constant current and constant voltage is given by your DC voltage. As we know already, if you apply the AC voltage as a biasing, then what happens? The current and voltage may changes. But we want, for the biasing purpose, we want the constant current and constant voltage. This is the one important reason about why you are not applying the AC voltage as a biasing. And second one, very simple, as I said, to make it as we know already, the important condition of transistor. What is the important condition of transistor? The emitter base section should be forward biased and collector base section should be reverse biased. The important condition of transistor is about the emitter base section should be forward biased and collector base section will be reverse biased. If this condition is satisfied, then only your transistor acts as an amplifier. As I said about, in this condition only your transistor acts as in the active region. And how to make it the forward and reverse bias if you are not applying any biasing voltage, or if you apply the AC voltage? Because one the major difference about AC voltage and DC voltage, as we know about the AC signal and DC signal. This is 0, this is your time, and this may be your current or voltage. This may be your current or voltage. Here the time. The important thing about the AC and DC, as we know already, you have studied already. In your AC, the magnitude and direction will changes with respect to time. It means in your AC, the magnitude and direction will changes with respect to time. It means here in AC you are not having any polarity. Always it is changing. You are not having any fixed polarity. But as in your DC, it is having the direction and magnitude are constant with respect to time. In DC, the direction and magnitude are constant with respect to time. It means you are having the polarity for the DC. It means here in AC you are not having any polarity, but you are having the polarity for the DC. We want to make it forward bias or to make it reverse bias, we want some polarity, or we want some voltages. We want some voltages. You want higher voltage, or if you want a positive voltage or negative voltage, to make it forward bias, to make it reverse bias, you want the polarity, or if you want some voltages. That is also one important reason about the why you are not applying the AC voltage as a biasing. And finally, if you apply the AC voltage as a biasing, then what happens? Whatever the bias given by the positive half cycle and whatever the bias given by the negative half cycle, they both will be cancelled. It means the net biasing voltage will be 0. The net biasing voltage will be 0. That's why you are not applying the AC voltage as a biasing voltage. These three are important for the point to remember that why you are applying only the DC voltage for the biasing purpose. And now we will go for the most important thing about the transistors and what is called the DC load line. What is called the DC load line? What is called the DC load line? Look here, here the definition of DC load line. It is a straight line drawn on a output characteristic of a transistor, and it will represents or it will give you the different DC output voltage with respect to the different DC currents. Once again repeat, what is called DC load line? The DC load line is nothing but it is a line drawn on the output characteristics of a transistor, and to get the DC output voltage corresponding to the DC output current. For example, as we know already, this is your output characteristics of the CE configuration. In the CE configuration, what I said, it is a line drawn on the output characteristics. As we know already, I said already about output characteristics, like that we get the output characteristics. This is your IB, and here also you are having IB, and IB. We know about IB, you can keep it different IBs, maybe 10 microfarad, or maybe 20 microfarad, or it may be 30 microfarad, or it may be 40 microfarad. As we know about this is your in milliamperes. This is about in volts. What I said about the DC load line, it is a line drawn on the output characteristics. And why you are drawing the DC load line? To get it represents the different output voltages corresponding to the different output current. The DC load line is nothing but a line drawn on the output characteristics. It will represent, it will give you the different output voltages corresponding to the different output current. Or you can say about, if you want different output voltages and different output currents, we can go for the DC load line. The DC load line will give you the different output voltages corresponding to the different output currents. This and without applying any input signal, or you can say zero input signal. The most important thing is, what is the meaning of zero signal? What is the meaning of zero signal? What is the meaning of zero signal? Look here, the meaning of zero signal means in the transistor we are not applying any input signal. The input signal is not there, or input signal is zero. That's why I call as zero signal, or you can say zero input signal. What is the DC load line? A line drawn on the output characteristics. It will give you the different values of the output voltage, and with respect to different output current, the condition is with a zero signal condition or without applying any input voltage. This is about the definition of your DC load line. Another way of your definition of DC load line. Actually, we know about this is your cutoff region. This is about the saturation region. The DC load line is a line drawn on the saturation and cutoff regions. It will connect the saturation and cutoff region, or you can draw the DC load line cutoff region and saturation region. The important thing we can say about the definition of DC load line in two ways. One is very simple. The DC load line, a line drawn on the output characteristics. It will give you the different output voltages with respect to different output currents with a zero signal condition or without applying any input. This is one type of definition. Another type of definition, the DC load line will connect the saturation and cutoff points. We can draw the DC load line by using the saturation and cutoff points. We can draw the DC load line by using the saturation and cutoff points. And what is the use of the DC load line? What is the use of the DC load line? Actually, the most important thing about DC load line is nothing but, if we draw the DC load line, we can we can know about the different operating points. We can identify the different operating points. By drawing the DC load line, we can identify or we can represent the different operating points. This is also an important application use of your DC load line. Why you have to draw the DC load line? To represent different operating points or to represent different Q points. This is about the importance of your DC load line. And actually, we are having small derivation. How to find the end points? How to find the end points of a DC load line? How to find the end? How to find the end points of the DC load line? DC load line. How to find the end points of the DC load line? Or another way, how to draw the DC load line? To draw the DC load line, what are the requirements? What are the necessary things for your to draw the DC load line? To draw the DC load line, what are the importance, necessary things? For that, as I said already, we are giving more importance to the CE configuration. I said already, in your CBA configuration and CC configuration, we are giving more importance to the CE configuration. Why are you giving more importance to the CE configuration? Because of their more current gain and more voltage gain and more power gain, you are going further, you are using about the CE configuration. Now also you can consider the CE transistor. Consider the CE configuration, and as we know already, we are going for the common emitter configuration. Here we are applying we are finding the DC load line. This is your RB, the base resistor. This is your BBB, and here this is your common emitter configuration. Here having the a resistor that is called RC. This RC is nothing but the collector resistor, and here apply the VCC. We are applying the VCC. This is your VCC, and here having the IC. This is your IE, and this is your IB. You can go for here, you can go for VBE voltage, positive, negative. This may be your VBE, and this is your VCE. This is about the circuit diagram for your CE configuration. Here in the CE configuration, this is your emitter, this is your base, and this is your collector. And here your BBB. First step, it means here you done for the common emitter. It means emitter is common for the input as well as output, and this is the first you have to draw the diagram. It may ask for 3 mark question: draw the DC load line, or to find the end points in your DC load line. First you have to draw the diagram, and next what you have to do, actually to find the DC load line, what we want? We want the output current. We want the output current IC. Also we want output voltage, that is VCE, and also we want the input current IB. To draw the DC load line, what we require? We require the output voltage, we require the output current, also we require the input current. And now what you have to do? First what you have to do? Apply the KVL for the input section. Apply KVL for the input section. It means here in this input section you have to apply the KVL. If you apply the KVL, what happens? The VBB equal to, what happens? IB into RB the VBB equal to IB into RB plus BBE plus BBE. This is equation number 1. Apply the KVL for the input section. The VBB equal to IB into RB plus BBE. And actually we want IB. We want IB. Then what you have to do? You take the VB this side. It becomes IB into RB equal to VBB minus VBE divided by, or you can say IB is equal to IB into RB is equal to VBB minus VBE. Actually you want IB. It becomes IB equal to VBB minus VBE divided by RB. This is the equation number 2. This will give the input current IB. And if you want output current, that is nothing but IC equal to beta into IB. IC equal to beta into IB. This is equation number 3. It means IB nothing but input current, and this is so important relation. The IC nothing but beta into IB. Now what you have to do? Second step. This is your first step. You can write about first step. Second step, we go for the apply the KVL to the output section. Apply the KVL for the output section. What can write? Apply the KVL for your output section. Apply the KVL for output section. And in your output section, VCC equal to IC into RC plus VCE. Same you can use how I used here the KVL. Here also you can use the same KVL in the output section. That becomes the VCC equal to IC into RC plus VCE. Right? Then actually we want the output voltage, because we know already about output current. We want the output voltage, and once again we want this VCE. You take this VCE this side, or you take ICRC this side. It becomes VCE equal to VCC minus IC into RC. This is equation number 4. While applying the KVL to the output section, we will get the VCC equal to IC into RC plus VCE. And if you want the output voltage is nothing but VC equal to VCC minus IC into RC. This we can also you can simplify this. We can get, for example, in your if you apply the KVL for the output section, then also you can find out the IC. The IC equal to how you are done here, VCC minus VCE divided by RC. Or you can say about IC equal to minus 1 by RC into VCE plus VCC divided by RC. This is the equation number 5. Actually, the equation number 5 is similar to the, because we are going for the DC row line. Means you have to draw the line and we know about the equation of straight line in our mathematics, that is y is equal to mx plus c. The equation for your straight line in mathematics, that is y is equal to mx plus c, and you can compare this equation with our output equation, that is nothing but compare the equation 3 and 4. Compare, or you can say the equation 3 is similar to the equation 4. It means the equation 4 indicates the equation for the straight line. It is the equation for the straight line, and we can compare the IC is equal to minus 1 by RC into VCE plus VCC by RC. And if you want the end points, if you want to find the end points, what you will do to find the x in the x-axis, in the x-axis, if you want the cutoff point in the x-axis, if you want the cutoff point, what you will do, as we know already, in the cutoff region, what happens? The IC equal to 0. In the cutoff region, IC equal to 0. You substitute this IC equal to 0 in the equation 4. Put IC equal to 0 in the equation 4. That becomes the VCC equal to VCE. This is the one important point about the x-axis. In the similar way, we have to find out in the y-axis, we have to find out the y-axis, the saturation point. We have to find out the y-axis, the saturation point. And as we know about in the saturation point, in the saturation point what happens? The output voltage VC will be 0. It means here you have to put the VCE equal to 0 in the equation 4. Then what happens? We get IC is equal to VCC by RC. This is the most important about the two important things. One is about we know this is the cutoff point, this is saturation point. Once you know the cutoff point, saturation point, it is very easy to draw the DC load line. Look here, this is your DC load line, and here you are having the cutoff point, that is about VCC equal to VCE, and here you are having the IC, that IC equal to VCC by RC. It means once you know this is your IC and this is your VCE and this is your VCC equal to VCE. It means by using this derivation, what you have found out? We have found out the cutoff point and saturation point, and once you know the cutoff point, saturation point, it is very easy to draw the DC load line. What I said, DC load line, the DC load line, it is a line on the output characteristics. It will give you the cutoff and saturation points. And once again repeat, it is very simple derivation. First you have to draw the need diagram, because you are going for the C configuration, and as I said, why you are giving more importance C configuration? Because of you are having more current gain, voltage and power gain. That's why we prefer the C configuration. And after drawing the figure, first step what you have to do, we have to apply the KVL for the input section. I have written here apply the KVL for the input section, it becomes VBB equal to IB into RB plus VBE, and here we want the input current IB. The IB is equal to VBB minus VB divided by RB. We know about the input current. Now we want the output current. The output is nothing but the IC. As we know already, IC is equal to beta and IB. This will give the output current. And also, now what you have to do? You apply the KVL for the output section. We have to apply the KVL output section. That becomes VCC equal to IC into RC minus VCE. Sorry, plus VCE. Then we want output voltage. The output voltage is given by the VCC minus IC into RC. And here we want the output current. The output current is nothing but the VCC minus VCE divided by RC. This circle you can write in another way. That is about this you can write another way. This may be equation 5. This may be equation 6. That is nothing but IC equal to VCC minus VCE by RC. Then next what you have to do? We have to find out the saturation and cutoff points to find, and also we can compare what you are drawing. You are drawing the straight line, and in the maths you know about the equation straight line, that is y is equal to mx plus c. You can compare the equation 4 and 6, they are similar. And if you want the cutoff point, what you have to do? Make it the output current is 0. You give the cutoff point, that is VCC equal to VCE. And if you want the saturation point, then next what you have to do? You go for the make it the output voltage is 0. It means you can put the VCE 0 in the equation 5, we will get the output current. And once you know this will be the saturation point and this will be the cutoff point. Once you know the cutoff point and saturation point, you can easily draw the DC load. This is about the most important derivation about the to find the end points of a DC voltage. You can continue in the tomorrow class.